Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to look at using some cell data. Let's say we have a list of information here and we want to make these tabs. So we want to use the data in the cells and create tab names with that data. So over here on the left you can see we have some stock data, some ticker symbols, and if you have 30, 40, 50, 100 things that you want to create as tabs, or maybe you've got a report to create, or just want to do this, and it's a quick and easy way to do it. So the easiest thing to do is do this by VBA code. So I'll hit Alt F11. It takes us to our Visual Basic application, and I'm going to do option explicit here. So we want to do this. I personally just like to do this because it ensures that if we have a variable and it's not defined, this will throw out a little warning sign and say, hey, you need to define something. You have an undefined data type or variable that needs a data type. So we will go ahead and start with creating the name of the sub-procedure. So let's do get names. And bear in mind, I'm kind of rusty on VBA, but I'm getting back into it. So cut me some slack here. So let's declare WB as a workbook and declare WS as a worksheet. And let's declare curve sheet as a worksheet. And then let's declare ILR as long. So I is a commonly used incrementer. Whenever you're creating loops, it's kind of the standard that I've seen. LR will be our last row. So when we do our loop, we want to make sure we have the last row in this set. And then we have the current sheet, which we will define as this tab, main sheet. So let's go ahead and set WB, the workbook, to the active workbook. And then let's set, the current sheet equal to WB sheets, and then main sheet. So within our active workbook and within our sheets object, we have this main sheet, which has our data. So now we have set this variable to reference this main sheet. So with this main sheet, or as we defined in here, current sheet, we want to start with that object. And then let's do a for loop. So for, let's do I is equal to 1 to last row. And we'll end that with a next. And so once we are here, within the cells within this current sheet, our main sheet, we want to go from 1 to 27 or 26, and we want to start with 1 to 1, so the column number will stay as 1. And we want to get, let's say, the tab name. Let's create a variable called tab name. So let's define it up here. And let's define it as a string because, after all, it is a string. It's not a numeric value. So we declared that variable. So now, once we loop through this, the first thing we'll have is Microsoft here. And once we have that, let's say we want to add a sheet after, let's use our sheets object after active workbook sheets.count. So this is going to count the number of sheets each time we go through this loop. Currently we have 1, so it's going to add a sheet after the first sheet. Once we create a second sheet, this will count the number of sheets, which will be 2. and it'll add a new tab after that, which will be the third tab, etc. So we have that, and then once we are there, we want to be on the active sheet and create the name using the tab name. So we will rename the active sheet with the tab name. So we can go through this. There's ways to add error handlers. You can constrain it to Excel's limit as far as number of characters, etc. But let's go through this with F8. Yep, and I messed up there. We need to define the last row. So we will start with, let's count the number of rows in column 1 and go to the bottom and come back up. So using the end Excel up dot row, because we are going to get the row number. So whenever we, essentially this comes over here and does down, so you can do control down, and then it comes back up, control up, and it returns the row number for the last number of data, last row or cell. So we have that set up. Now we can run through this, and I will slowly go through it hitting F8 so you can see this will be a 1, 1. So in the first cell we have Microsoft, and if I scroll over it, it hasn't assigned this yet to it, but we can see there's Microsoft here, and then we see Microsoft is now into the tab name. And right now we only have one sheet, so you can see hovering over this we have one sheet, and we're going to insert a sheet or add a sheet after the first one. And we want this sheet, the active sheet name, to be Microsoft. And you can see below it did that. And I'm just going to hit F8 again to go through it. Again, the next one is Google. It's counting 3 sheets, where it was 2, and it added 1. Now we can rename this Google. So it did that. I'm just going to hit F5, and it will load all of our sheets. So now we have it all set up. So we can see our last sheet was NVIDIA. I duplicated AMD here just to show that it is possible for that to happen and that error to happen. So it's nothing really to be alarmed about, but this is a good code to run things on. And if you need to kind of quickly create new tabs, this is the way to go. It's very, very beneficial. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe and like this video. More videos to come, and if you have any ideas, please share them in the comments. Thank you so much, and have a great day.